Hey guys, this is my very first Q&A video. I have been meaning to do one for so long. I've just never gotten around to it. And so I actually went back to my 17-week video and looked at all the questions on that video and all the videos I've made since then. That's about as far back as I can probably go without this video being super huge. And then I also asked for viewers on my YouTube and Instagram to post their questions for a video I'd be making today. So here are those questions. Is Abram acting any differently now that you are noticeably pregnant? No, he's not acting any different. You have to think that I've been pregnant since he was 15 months old and pretty noticeably pregnant because I started showing right away since we did start out as a triplet pregnancy. And it's really all he knows is me having a baby or babies in my belly and kind of pointing to them and saying, be gentle, be careful. So no, he's not acting any different. It says, are you going to announce their names with a name reveal? Yes, we are going to do a name reveal video where we reveal baby A and baby B's names, and we're going to explain kind of the meaning behind them and how we came to those names. But what I'm going to do is I'm having a baby shower here in 3 weeks in my hometown, and we're going to actually display the names on canvases at the baby shower for our guests and friends and family to see first. And then I will post the name reveal video a few days after. So that video will be posted a few days after Easter weekend. Another person says, how is Abram doing? Has it been hard taking care of him? Oh, he is doing great. He's adorable, obviously. He is running all over the place, climbing all over things. He is chatting, like he just talks all the time and points to things, and he's just super verbal, even though not a lot of it quite makes sense yet. But he's just a lot of fun, and he keeps me very busy. I am the primary caregiver for him. I am here all day, every day with him, and he's 30 pounds at 19 months old. So I'm the one lifting him in and out of bed, in and out of his high chair, in and out of his car seat, in and out of his bath. You know, I'm the one on the floor with him, playing with him, cooking for him, doing laundry for him. It's pretty much me most of the time since my husband does work full time, you know, so it is me. Yes, it has been very, very challenging. You know, I'm now at 25 weeks and I'm starting to feel the effects of that, and I'm starting to feel like I need to take it a little bit easier. So I'm keeping in close communication with my OB, and I'm trying to get as much help as I can through the week, whether it's from my mom or from my husband. Just when they are here, that they're taking over the majority of the responsibility of lifting him and things like that. Another person asks, are you planning to have a vaginal birth with the twins, and are they telling you that you will need a C-section? The short answer is yes, I am planning a vaginal natural birth with twins, but I think this is a much bigger video, so I am going to make a whole separate video on my birth plan. Okay, so how different is this pregnancy from your pregnancy with Abram? I know you struggled with a pregnancy rash with Abram, and I was just curious if there are any things similar with this pregnancy. So I'm not far enough along. Well, I don't have the pregnancy rash right now. I didn't get that with Abram until 35 weeks, somewhere around there. So I'm only 25 weeks, but I also think this should be a whole separate video. I think there's huge differences between my singleton pregnancy and my multiples pregnancy. So that's another video I'm going to make. And someone else asks, what app do you use? And I think they're talking about my pregnancy apps. I use the Bump and What to Expect app. I like the Bump because they give you actual pictures of the fruit, and I feel that their weights and links tend to be more accurate with everything else I read. But I like the What to Expect app because I like the descriptions. It has a lot more of what you're going through that week and what the baby's going through that week. And then What to Expect also has a picture of kind of an outline of a female body, and it shows the size of the fetus inside of her belly, and I really like that feature. I have another person who says that their frozen embryo transfer of 2 embryos worked, they're pregnant, and they're having a lot of cramping and just wanted to know if this was normal. So first of all, congratulations, that's so exciting. I know what it feels like to finally be pregnant after wanting it for so long, and I'm so happy for you. I'm praying that you just have a very uneventful and successful pregnancy. As far as the cramping goes, yes, completely normal. With both of my pregnancies, I had so much cramping that it scared me. It was sharp at times, and it felt like I was going to start my period any moment. And my doctors and everybody else said this is completely normal. The thing you want to watch for is you don't want to have lots of bleeding associated with that cramping. I did have some spotting in both pregnancies, and it turned out to be nothing associated with loss. So that can be normal too, but you just want to watch for cramping associated with bleeding, but it's totally normal. I cramped a lot, and up until like 8 or 9 weeks, it felt like period cramps. So yeah, it's normal. It's scary, but it's normal. Okay, so I'm going to Instagram, and here are the questions on there so far. It says, what advice do you have for the guys who are going through IVF with their wives or partners? And this is huge. This is, I mean, I could make a whole video about this, but if I had to kind of pick one thing just off the top of my head, it would be just to be as physically and emotionally supportive as you can, even if you think she's being ridiculous or her hormones are all over the place, or, you know, one minute she's excited, the next minute she's crying because it's never gonna work and you spend all this money and blah, blah, blah. You know, just be there for her as she goes through this. I know I went through 4 IVFs, and 2 of them I felt super crazy effects from the drugs, and 2 of them, the ones that actually worked, I didn't really feel anything. It just felt like another couple weeks of my life, and then I was pregnant. So, you know, just be there as much as you can to help her physically, whether it's massages, helping her relax, helping her get good rest, making her food, you know, and then emotionally, try not to complain about the process, because for guys, it's not really fun. It's not for the women either, but it's not really what any of us imagined on how we would conceive children. So be as positive as you can that this is just your journey. This is just your story. This is what your, you know, conceiving of children looks like. And so not complaining about the process, not complaining about the financial burden of it, just being there to support her, because I really do believe that, you know, the woman's mental state and physical state during IVF can really affect the outcome of the whole process. After the twins are here, do you plan on having more children? Did you have any embryos left in Ecuador? And what advice would you give to couples who are going through infertility? So, as far as planning on having more children, this is another video I'm going to make. I think this is a much bigger video than just a quick kind of Q&A. So I'm gonna make a whole nother video on that, but the short answer of embryos left is no. We did not have any embryos left from Abrams IVF that we did here in the States, and then we didn't have any embryos left either from the IVF that we did in Ecuador. So I will make a whole separate video on kind of, do we plan to have more? What's our plans in the future? Things like that. And then what advice would I give to couples going through infertility? Like I just said, I'm gonna do a whole nother video on kind of like infertility and kind of my tips for getting through that. But again, I'll do just a short little answer. And my advice for going through infertility is surround yourself with community in some way, shape, or form. If you're not comfortable sharing it with friends or family until you know that you're pregnant or here on YouTube, I totally get that, and that's definitely not for everybody. But, you know, whether it's an online forum or a support group, you know, in your local town or at your local fertility clinic, I think it's just huge to know you're not alone and to find other people to bounce ideas off of and bounce feelings off of. So find support, you know, as you go through this process, because it's so lonely and that's like the worst feeling. So find support. Another person asks, what gave you the courage to post videos of your journey on YouTube, and do your friends and family all follow your channel? What gave me the courage would be that, I think one thing that gave me the courage was that we were doing a shared risk program through Shady Grove Infertility in Virginia. And their program is guaranteed. You get like 6 tries, and if it doesn't work, you get 100% of your money back. So I had a lot of confidence in just the process. So I felt I had courage to share my story because of that. But also after walking through 2 failed IVFs with no support, I was like, I can't do that anymore. And you know what? Even if IVF doesn't work, and if we do end up in miscarriage or whatever, I just felt like it would have helped me to have watched, and it, you know, it helped me to watch those journeys that other people were going through. So it was super important for me to share my journey so that I could help even just one person. That really gave me the courage, just keeping in mind that my story can help even just one person go through their journey. It's totally worth it. And do my friends and family follow my YouTube channel? Yes, I share my YouTube with friends and family. Everybody who knows me pretty much knows that I have a YouTube channel. There's nothing on there that they don't know in person. So yeah, they follow it. And because we move around a lot and we've kind of been on the road for the last couple of years, this was just such a great way to keep them informed without having to text or call dozens of people. I would just be like, hey, check YouTube. I put an update on there. I'm not going to type out like a whole story. So go check our YouTube. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Facebook now and check those questions. So one person posted, would you do IVF again? Again, I'm going to make a whole separate video on this because I think it's a little bit bigger than just a quick Q&A. Are you planning on a natural delivery with the twins? I already answered that one, and I'm gonna make a whole nother video on my birth plan. Another person says, are you planning a natural delivery? And what are your thoughts about nursing twins? And does the little dude understand he's going to have not one, but 2 babies? So first, I'll answer that question. He has no clue. He has absolutely no clue. I mean, I tell him there's brother and there's sister, but for the most part, no. I think he is totally unaware of the fact that his world is about to be rocked. So he has no clue. My thoughts on nursing twins is that there's no other option for me. I simply can't afford formula for 2 babies. It's outrageous and astronomical, and I really stand by the belief that if you can and it's possible, breast milk is just what's best for your baby. It's what's most natural, and so if you're able to do it, it is just the best option. So, I mean, I'm just giving myself no other option. I'm going to breastfeed these twins. I did buy a pump this time, like an electric dual pump, and I bought a deep freezer. And so we do plan to pump this time and store milk and try to get a supply going. And I actually do plan to, for the most part, actually breastfeed. The pumped milk will just be for, nights out or if I need to sleep in or different things like that. But I do plan to actually breastfeed, tandem feed, all of that for twins. I quit breastfeeding Abram at 13 months only because we were trying for baby number 2, which ended up being also baby number 3. And this time I really hope to go a whole lot further. It is actually recommended to breastfeed children until a minimum of the age of 2 worldwide. That's the recommended thing, is 2 years old. So I hope to make it to 2. And I'm comfortable going even a little bit further and kind of letting them self-wean. So yeah, I hope to make it a lot further with 2. With Abram, I mean, if you saw him, he was like the chunkiest baby. So I made plenty of milk for him, and I could easily, after he nursed, get 5 or 6 ounces pumped after he was done nursing. So I really do have high hopes that I'm going to be able to produce enough for 2 chunky, fat little babies. Someone else says names. Yes, I'm going to be announcing the names here after Easter weekend. And then one last question I'm going to answer is, I was curious about what happens to the other embryos that don't get implanted. From what I understand, usually more are harvested than what are needed, and I just have a basic understanding of IVF, so correct me if I have that info mixed up. So as far as that goes, as far as our situation, we've never had extra embryos. With Abram's IVF, he was the only good embryo that ended up making it to implantation day, so we put him back in. And the rest of the embryos simply died off, unfortunately. They stopped dividing and growing, so they just didn't make it. For one reason or another, they weren't healthy, viable embryos. And as far as this IVF goes, we only had 3 on implantation day, which was huge compared to Abram, so we put 2 in. And as most of you know, one of those embryos divided into identicals, and we lost one of our identicals at 11 weeks. And that 3rd embryo, they were going to freeze it the next day, and it unfortunately as well stopped dividing. But if you're just curious about the IVF process, there are lots of people who end up with extra embryos, and for the most part, they will end up using them or donating them to other couples. It's called snowflake adoptions, where you can adopt embryos that are frozen. For us, had we had extra embryos, any life that was created and was still living would have been implanted back into us. Even if it was 11 embryos, I would have had 11 children, because I really do stand firm that life begins at conception, and if those embryos had been created and frozen, they would have become my children or had the potential to become my children. Some people are comfortable donating their embryos to science or simply just throwing them away. That's something we wouldn't have been comfortable with, but that's what some people do choose to do with their embryos. So guys, I hope that answers the questions that you have. I tried to kind of go back and see what people have been asking. I am gonna make a video on our birth plan with twins, on twin pregnancy versus a singleton pregnancy. I'm gonna make a video on, do we want more children, and will we do IVF again? And lastly, I'm gonna make a video on advice that I would give, or like tips to couples going through IVF or infertility. So stay tuned for those videos. Thank you guys for following.